Hey there, I'm Rebecca with the Connext Exchange, and I am here to continue the conversation with Jenny Drescher, who is founding member and chief play officer at the Boulder company. Jenny recently joined us for a conversation called Reclaiming Play to Adapt and Thrive. Thanks so much for joining me, Jenny.
Thanks for having me. It was loads of fun.
It was loads of fun, a very non-traditional Zoom where we actually use some of the time to play. So tell me a little bit about what has drawn you to play and why that's an important part of your life and what you bring to people.
So play and humor and finding the fun in just about anything is hardwired into me. I was raised in a family that has one side, my mother's side, very, very serious, very stern German. And then my family on the other side is sort of this rollicking bunch of crazy Scots, and they just find humor in everything. So I got to be between worlds. And what I found growing up was that the folks who were always in the agony of all the seriousness had a much harder time with certain stresses in life. And the folks on the Scottish side, and this is not a commentary on Scots versus Germans, let me just be really clear about that. I'm just looking at my own family, disclaimer on the bottom, 100%. But my dad's side of the family, as opposed to my mom's side of the family, they always found humor in even the worst kind of situations. And it made everything buoyant and made the hardest of situations so much more manageable and so much more stress relieving. So I believe firmly that finding the play and finding the humor in a variety of things and bringing it, if you're not finding it, like create it, it's something we need to be doing more of, because otherwise the world just overwhelms us with all of its seriousness, and we can take ourselves too seriously too.
Yes, we can. And I feel like there's something about being an adult, whatever that means. You know, I've thought about what does acting your age really mean? Similar to you, I've grown up with a bunch of fun people, but as we become an adult, it's like, oh, grow up. You're not supposed to do that. Or like, what are you doing? So I think these layers of responsibility and heaviness pile up. And you invited us to get in touch with our IPA, our Inner Playful Adult.
Yes.
Yes. And it was fabulous. So if I missed the conversation and I'm watching this on video, what is a tip that you can offer to help people get in touch with their inner playful adult?
Ooh, so one tip that I offer is to think about moments when you may have had the I shouldn't do that going off in your head, right? So, okay, I'm in that moment of, I really want to say this because it's making me chuckle inside, you know, maybe in a meeting, and say, okay, well, what is it that's holding me back from that? What is it that's holding me back from this little thing that's amusing me that I could bring that would bring levity into the room? Granted, you don't want to do that if it's at somebody else's expense, but I think most of us have had moments where maybe we're in a meeting or on the phone or whatever it is that we're doing in a proper business setting, right? Where there's some little tone in someone's voice that makes us chuckle, or there's the juxtaposition of two words that makes us say, well, that sounds really funny. It reminds me of blank. But we're embarrassed to say it because we think that's not appropriate, or nobody will understand, or they'll think I'm weird. But if we maybe check in and invite ourselves to say, hey, maybe that voice is not helping me right now. Maybe somebody else could find that humorous as well. Then we can take the risk of saying, okay, I gotta hit pause on this meeting for a second and share this crazy, ridiculous thought that just went through my head. Mm-hmm. And if you frame it that way, usually people will relate to it. They'll say something like, oh my gosh, that's really true. And then you bring the play. And so you're actually giving the gift of levity and play to the whole room. And so you activate that IPA inside and share it with other people at the risk of being foolish or weird. But 9 times out of 10, somebody else in the room is going to say, oh yeah, there's something kind of funny there.
Yeah. And I love the connection that you made to play and being human. And when we deny play, we deny part of ourselves. So what do you think it is that causes us to do that? Why does that happen? Why is play reserved for kids?
Right? Why is play reserved for kids? I've been asking myself this question my entire life. It's like, it's so dumb that we don't play as adults. I think what happens is, we do get wound up in the shoulds, we get wound up in adulting, we get wound up in responsibility. But I think the biggest thing that I see as an obstruction to play for adults is reality.
Yeah.
Because we get all wrapped up in responsibility and reality, and we get all these messages that say, well, playing make-believe is not going to help you, is not, playing pretend, which is a very pure and natural form of play for children, right? All of us have imagination growing up. We all have imagination as adults. But if we do that, if we do imagination as adults, if we do make-believe as grown-ups, then it's considered immature, or it's labeled daydreaming and can be viewed as negative. So we start to equate, this is again just what I've seen in my years doing this work, we start to equate playing make-believe or imagination and sort of that playful thing, we start to equate it with, well, we're not doing enough, or we're not being enough, or we can't be taken seriously. And I think that over the years, as adults move through career, they take in more and more of that message, and then this just gets smushed down. But the irony is that the folks who are the most connected as leaders, this is what I see all the time, the really connected, ooh, see, there is an example of play right there. Can you hear that? That's Scooby-Doo on my phone.
Perfect.
I forgot to shut that phone off. See, that's an example right there of how to add play to your world. What is a ringtone that makes you laugh? Scooby-Doo makes me laugh. Every single time my phone rings, I start laughing. So totally lost track of my thought there. But that would be one thing that I see all the time, is that we start to equivocate these things, and that's a lie. The connected leaders are the ones who are natural and playful and can find moments to lighten things up.
Yeah. So play is part of your work at the Boulder company. Share a little bit more about what is it that you do, and how does play have a role, and what do you see with your clients?
So what we do is, we are, I guess you could classify us in the marketplace as a learning and development organization. So we go in and we work with leaders, we work with teams. We love working with middle management and people who are really frontline workers, like in manufacturing, for example. We like to work with crew leaders and people running the machines, because they're the folks who have sort of been left behind and left out of the conversation about development. If you work for somebody, say the Travelers or the Aetna, nothing against those companies, but if you're working in that zone, there's an expectation that you'll do professional development, that you'll do communications or management or leadership development. But in a lot of the more quote unquote blue collar sectors, that has not been the case. So we're on a mission to really help draw the spotlight to this large swath of folks who are the ones doing the work and experiencing the stress of it. So let's help them. Let's help them with communications development, leadership development. We do everything from DISC personality type and emotional intelligence to executive leadership development and leadership thinking. So that's what we do. That's the land that we like to walk in. And we use play in everything we do. So for example, in unconscious bias, if you're going to have a conversation with someone about hidden biases in their brain, you're going to take them to a place that they might not want to go. It can be dark, it can be creepy, it can make you say, oh gosh, I have this bias in my head. What does that mean about me? That makes me a terrible person. So play really helps us to lubricate conversations that might otherwise be difficult. Because it helps, if we laugh and we play together, play connects. So play connects people, it builds trust, it grows empathy. And when you do that in the context of a team, you do that in the context of leadership, you really can go a long way towards helping people see one another as humans.
Yeah, that's so beautiful, and really for me helps like bump play up on the priority list.
Good.
Something we shouldn't overlook anymore in the workplace.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that Boulder brings people together every Wednesday for some play. So I invite you to share the details about that offering and let people know how they can get in touch with you if they want to talk about this more.
Great. So yes, the Boulder Company every Wednesday at 11:30 Eastern for 30 minutes. We do the Be Boulder Jam. And the Be Boulder Jam is all about building our mindsets, approaches, and practices and skills. MAPS, I like to call it my MAPS. That's how I remember it in my head. MAPS is it's all about how we develop those for adapting and for changing and for growing. And really, it's about at the heart of everything we do is we want people to feel powerful in their work and powerful in their lives. So the Be Boulder Jam is a weekly place for people to show up and practice doing the approaches and the skills that will get them there. So it's a space to practice being brave, full of great conversations. Every week we have an experience of some kind. It might be an exercise, it might be a meditation, it might be a reading from a book, could be anything. It's literally, it's a surprise. Every single week it's something different, and we have guest facilitators. You should come out and facilitate with us.
Okay, we'll make that happen.
Do a thing for us. I would love that. And they can get on to the bouldercompany.com, and Boulder is spelled B-O-L-D-E-R, like be a Boulder version of yourself, not like Colorado. Nothing against Colorado. So the Be Boulder Jam, you can register on it, and it's an evergreen link once you register.
Wonderful.
So, thebouldercompany.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jenny, for this extra time together. And thanks so much for the conversation you led and the reminder that play really is important for all ages and stages. All ages and stages. So get out and play today or this week, whatever that looks like for you. And visit with Jenny every Wednesday at the Be Boulder Jam. And we hope to see you at a future Connext Exchange conversation every Thursday at 11:30 live on Zoom. And you can find us in all the social places online. So have a great week, and we'll see you again next time.